I'm Martin Kiviet, the CEO of OpenCloudBSS. I've been working in the telecoms industry for over 15 years and always worked between IT and business departments, which I think is the coolest place to be. I've worked for different operators on the operator side and also for different solution vendors. And in 2018, we decided to start our own BSS company. So we could take all the lessons we have learned, things that went well and things that didn't go as well, and help them implement them for our customers. Today, I'll be talking to you about how e-commerce is changing in different markets and what you can do to take advantage of that. I've also promised Eva I won't turn this into a sales story of our platform, but hopefully provide you with some information that you can use regardless of who your solution provider is. So let's try to make it generic. So let's see if the slide flicks works. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, so talk about the changing phase of e-commerce. So on the next slide. Yeah. So in the coming 20 minutes, I'll be talking to you about trends, strategy, and implementation. What has changed after the pandemic? How should or could you define your strategy and your USPs? And perhaps the most important one, how do you implement this in a way that best fits your organization? I think one of the nice things from Nice Mobile, I love your presentation, Shiraz, is they went into an agile way. And I think also what I take from this story is it's not a one-time implementation. It's agile, it keeps continuing, it keeps improving. So yeah, from that perspective, I think it's great. And also e-commerce is not only something that you do on a website, but also, as Shiraz showed us, very clearly something that you do in your mobile app. So whatever we're going to talk to about this today, applies for both websites and for your mobile app also. Okay. So on the next slide. So let's start with some facts. What do the facts tell us? And it shows us what is happening in the world. So the impact of the pandemic on customer behavior is clearly visible. In this case, in the UK, 71% of the UK customers are now buying more online than before the pandemic. And this number has steadily increased over time. You can see in March 2020, it was 41%, and in February 2021, it was 71%. Online purchases are now part of everyone's daily life. People that used to be digital avoiders, also elderly people, before the pandemic, are now purchasing online. MVNOs can just not afford to not have a strong online presence. And if you look at the charts on the next slide, then another interesting fact is that more than 50% of the customers are using a wallet, either Apple Pay, Google Pay, PayPal, WeChat Pay, or maybe mobile money if you're in Africa, to make a payment. Again, I think Nice Mobile showed that a lot of their payments are actually going via these type of channels. If we look at different e-commerce sites, Amazon, for example, they typically provide a range of payment options to suit the needs of their customers. Yet, when I look at sites of different operators, they still only provide a single payment option. I believe that's a missed opportunity. Your customers prefer to use their own preferred payment option to pay for their purchases. This, of course, is also heavily depending on the market where you're operating in. So if you're in the UK, it's very common to pay by credit or debit card. However, if you're in the Netherlands, there's a payment platform called Ideal, where you effectively use your own bank mobile app or website to try to complete the transfer and the payment. In many African countries, they prefer to use mobile wallet, and for payments, and in China, most people use WeChat Pay. So payments is definitely not a one-size-fits-all, and the traditional behavior of telcos of offering a single payment option is no longer suitable moving forward. So how do operators perform when it comes to customers abandoning the shopping cart somewhere in the process? I would be very interested also to see from Nice Mobile how it works over there. I think it's extremely impressive to reach 800K subscribers in a reasonably short period in time using digital only. In general, almost 91% of customers who add something into a shopping basket do not finish their purchase. Just imagine all the money spent on getting customers to your website for them then not to complete their purchase. What if you could reduce the percentage of abandoned orders and be on par with, for example, consumer electronics? And that's already a highly price competitive market where people typically shop around between different websites. So what would this do to your return of investment for marketing, for example? So let's have a look at the abandoning reasons. So why do customers abandon shopping carts? And these numbers are coming from the US, but they hold true for most parts of the world. So perhaps there are issues in this list that you would recognize from your own e-commerce platform. Actually, I recognize a couple of them as strong points, USPs, on the Nice Mobile website in one of the last slides. So, for example, do you charge your customers for delivery or any other hidden costs? You can see over here 48% of customers abandon because of that specific reason. Any hidden costs that appear. How transparent are you in your pricing? Next one, how fast do you deliver? eSIM, of course, instant delivery, but what if the customer also wants to purchase a mobile device? What are your delivery options? How fast can you deliver? Are you on par with what customers are expecting in your market? Is your checkout process optimized to capture only the data you really need? Don't have too many steps in a long and complicated checkout process just because marketing wants to capture all kinds of additional information to build up their marketing database. How do you balance that part? But also, what is the uptime of your website? Is your website actually available? Does it run on up-to-date hardware in your infrastructure? So can customers rely on your website being available? So this list might help you to prioritize some of your existing improvement initiatives. These are some numbers I guess you could potentially use to see where you can improve. Now we have seen some customer behavior and expectations, as in what they do like and do not like. Let's have a look to see how this would work and how it inputs your strategy. To define your strategy and your unique selling points, there are a few steps to work through. What is your brand identity? What are your current distribution channels? And also perform a competitor and market analysis. And when you then start combining all this information together, you can start to define your unique position and the experience that will match with your brand. Let's start with brand identity. So one of the reasons people abort the baskets, as I showed on the previous slide, is 18%, is because people do not trust the website. So making sure that your website, effectively your shopping window online, provides an experience that your customers expect from your brand. If the Apple website, for example, would take you to a 25-step sales process, it would not fit with what I try to achieve as a brand, the simplicity and user experience. You would just not recognize it to be an Apple website. You would not feel happy with that website. It doesn't match with your expectations. If the Coca-Cola website would be all around a blue color scheme, you would think you're on the wrong website. Yep. The color doesn't match with the brand. It doesn't match with the identity. So those even small things are important to get right for yourself. Understanding your brand identity and how your customers see you and what they expect from you are important to then expand this also into your website. It is key for trust and key to be recognized. This part is then the input for your desired design. How should your e-commerce website look like, your customer experience, and also the customer journeys you should implement. If you're a no-frills brand, there should be a no-frills checkout. Yeah? If you're a high-value brand, then also your website should show the high value that's associated with your brand, as an example. Then, distribution channels. So, do you have an offline presence, or are you digital only? Like Nice Mobile, Melon Mobile, who will be after me with Kelvin in this situation, they are online-only brands. But maybe you're just starting to add e-commerce to your existing channel mix. And what is your current channel mix and where would you like to go? So depending and defining how your distribution channels will work. Maybe at this moment you're highly reliable on third-party resellers, and you pay a lot of commission for them to resell your SIM cards into your customer base. It might be very beneficial of moving at least part of that sales activities into your own website. You've got more control with your customers, you get better communication channels, and you can also save quite a bit of money from a commission perspective. But what's important is you can't do this overnight. It has to be done with a strategy where you slowly move from one channel mix into the next channel mix. If all of a sudden you'll take away all sales from your third-party resellers, if that's 80% of your sales, 80% is gone, and it will take you time to rebuild up your online channel. I think one of the lessons from Shiraz was also that the expectations for the first couple of months on customers onboarding was too high. They didn't go as fast at the beginning as they were expecting. So you need to make sure you keep those things in mind when you design your channel strategy. Now we've put a baseline together, we've got a brand identity, we've got a distribution strategy. It's now time to start validating and enhancing what you've come up with so far. Of course, the reasonable thing is to start with your competitors' website. So what is it that they offer to their customers? And what can you learn to differentiate and tailor this on your own target customers? But what I believe is even more important is identify the biggest e-commerce players in your market. Might it be Amazon as an example? Then in that case, your customers do not only shop online with you or with your competitors. The majority of their sales experience will be done via different e-commerce brands. Online shopping is a big thing in there. So what is it that those e-commerce platforms are offering to their customers? It's very easy to see in, for example, Amazon, the delivery options that are being offered to customers. Pickup, drop-off points, delivery at home. Can I select a window up front, or can I only select a day? So what are the delivery options, delivery periods, but also the payment options. So the payment options offered by standard e-commerce platforms, the big players, is what your customer also would expect from you. Same for purchase journeys, the experience that's being provided to your customers on a regular basis. This is what they will expect from you. This market analysis will provide you with the insight to sharpen your journey and the experience you'd like to give into your customers. So once you bring all the information you've gathered in the previous 3 steps together, this will then allow you to make the choices that will have you stand out from your customers. Provide them with a recognizable website, simplicity that matches your brand in the whole journey and experience, and also then the experience they expect from you, delivery and payment options that they recognize from other e-commerce providers. With all that information, you can now start designing the journeys for your customers and how the look and feel of your website to work and should look like. So now we've defined strategy, your USPs, but what about implementing these changes onto your website? If you could start from scratch, and that's not always the case, I'll touch upon that a little bit later, but if you could start from scratch, there are effectively 2 options to start from. It's either build your own platform, either from scratch or using standard COTS products as an underlying capability, or buy an out-of-the-box ready-made e-commerce platform. You could buy this out-of-the-box platform from either your BSS vendor or use something as Shopify, for example, as a ready-made platform. And as with anything in life, there are pros and cons for each of the options. Let's first look at the build your own option. It's a great way to have maximum control over the journeys and customer experience you would like your customer to have. It allows you to build something extremely unique for your customer. Besides the integration points you will have to work with from the underlying systems, there is no limitation on what you can do. You still have to do number porting in a way that it will support number porting. There's not much you can change over there. But when it comes to the look and feel, when you capture the information, where you capture the information, And how you drive the customer through the journey is completely up to you. The downside is obviously that you will have a unique solution, which means you have to do it all yourself. So it's harder to get lessons learned from other implementations. There are no features built for you on the roadmap and delivered to you as standard when it comes to buying a product. And it's also usually the most time-consuming and expensive option. If you want to provide a very unique experience to your customers and you do have the time and budget available, this is the way to go. This works, and any BSS vendor will provide you with their APIs, which you can connect to. But this is the way to go when you want to deliver this unique experience, if that is part of your strategy and where you'd like to go. Then the out-of-the-box platform. This is typically the fastest and cheapest solution to deploy. The license fee for the platform outweigh the effort and cost required to build similar capabilities yourself. It comes pre-integrated with your BSS system and or other third-party systems as payment providers, logistics companies, etc., which will also save time and cost. The obvious downside of this option is the more limited control you as an operator have on look and feel, and also on the user experience of your customers. It's also, if you want to make changes or request changes from your vendor, you might rely on the roadmap process of your vendor, which might not align with your priorities. If your strategy defines that you do not need a very unique experience, but something that is strong, good, reliable, and you've got time and budget constraints, then of course, this is the best way to go. It's a solution that works for many companies, but you really need to balance and figure out what's the best solution working for yourself. But like I said, it's not always an option to start greenfield, start from scratch. Nice Mobile had the good opportunity. They launched the brand. They were completely new. But if you have an existing MVNO, you've got an existing e-commerce platform, then what are your options there? Well, of course, there are plenty of things you can do to look and to achieve improvements. If you go back to the list of why people are abandoning their shopping carts, that could be the starting point. And of course, I would always suggest do your own surveys to make sure that you've got the information for your customers, why your customers are abandoning their shopping carts, how's your process, what are you doing, what could you optimize from that perspective. So maybe integrate a payment provider that offers your customer with multiple options to pay. It's usually not that complicated anymore. And usually only a single payment provider can provide you with the different payment options to your customer. So you don't have to integrate to 3, 4, 5 different payment providers yourself to be able to offer that. Enhance the look and feel of your existing website in line with your brand identity. Do your customers recognize your brand when they go to your website? How do you use your website as an advertisement plate, as a shopping window online for your customers? And also you can start for making changes and tweaks to your existing processes and customer journeys. Do we gather any information in the journey that's not really required? Can we remove it? How can we simplify the steps? Can we combine steps potentially to make it into less different screens the customer has to go through? So there are many things you can do to start building and enhancing the experience for your customers. And like with most things in life, running a good e-commerce solution is a journey. And it's definitely not a one-off activity to get done and over with and forget about it. This is something you typically can do with your CRM platform, maybe even with your point of sale and your order manager, but your customer-facing parts require continuous improvement and attention. Looking into what are the new trends, your customer expectations are evolving based on your competitors deploying new features and enhanced processes, new technologies become available, and it's also important to keep an eye on that part and implement the features that make a difference for your brand and your customers. That's it from my side. I thank you very much for your time. And if you want to know how we can help you with your strategy or implementation of your e-commerce platform, of course, feel free to reach out. Back to you, Eva.
Thank you so much, Martin. It's very comprehensive. We have a couple of questions from the audience, so let's go through these. Do you advise your customers which payment method they should include and how to design the offering depending on the market they operate in?
Yes, so we typically work with our customers in a very similar way as what Nice Mobile describes. So we've got the luxury that we don't have a lot of legacy on our platform, so we started fully from the cloud. And with the experience we've gained over time, 15 years in telco, we typically work with our customers to define their offering, their propositions, but also indeed which payment methods you'd like to use. We've got a preferred payment provider, as you have integrated into our platform, and they will provide our customers with this range of options: card payments, ideal payments, Google Pay, Apple Pay, PayPal. So effectively the whole part of payment options is fully available and can come pre-integrated. But if customers want to bring their own payment providers, of course, it's also up to them.
Thank you. Does your platform allow flexibility to switch between different payment methods?
Yes. So, like I said, we have a preferred payment provider, but we've also integrated other payment providers, a prepaid balance from an online charging platform. We've got an integration with mobile wallets in Africa, which is a mobile phone number based account that customers have. So yes, different payment options are offered to our customers depending on the scenarios.
Perfect. And one final question. Do you know about any examples of how MVNO could partner with e-commerce platforms to enhance their strategies?
Well, I think in the previous speaker, Shiraz gave a great example from Nice Mobile and how they worked with their vendor very closely to get us together. I think Dot Mobile in Canada uses Shopify as part of their solution. So I think that's another example where it's a great example. And I think next speaker, Kelvin, will be speaking about his relationship with his vendor on how they've launched Melon Mobile in a very short period in time. So I definitely believe there's a lot of different examples out there.
Thank you very much, Martin. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Eva. Speak to you later. Bye-bye.